Medinet Habu Temple. The Temple of Ramesses III at Medinet Habu was an important New Kingdom period temple structure in the West Bank of Luxor in Egypt. Aside from its size and architectural and artistic importance, the mortuary temple is probably best known as the source of inscribed reliefs depicting the advent and defeat of the Sea Peoples during the reign of Ramesses III. Modern identification and excavation. The first European to describe the temple in modern literature was Vivant Denon, who visited it in 1799–1801. Jean-François Champollion described it in detail in 1829. Initial excavation of the temple took place sporadically between 1859 and 1899 under the auspices of the Department of Antiquities. During these decades, the main temple was cleared, and a large number of the Greco-Roman period buildings, including a substantial Byzantine church in the second court, were destroyed without notes or records being taken. The further excavation, recording and conservation of the temple has been facilitated in chief part by the architectural and epigraphic surveys of the University of Chicago Oriental Institute almost continuously since 1924. Description. The temple, some 150 and 490 ft long, is of Orthodox design and closely resembles the nearby mortuary Temple of Ramesses II, the Ramesseum. The temple precinct measures approximately 210 and 690 ft by 300 and 1,000 ft and contains more than 7,000 and 275,347 sq-ft of decorated wall reliefs. Its walls are relatively well preserved, and it is surrounded by a massive mud brick enclosure, which may have been fortified. The original entrance is through a fortified gatehouse, known as a migdal, a common architectural feature of Asiatic fortresses of the time. Just inside the enclosure, to the south, are chapels of Aminides I Shepanupet Roman II and Nitocrit, all of whom had the title of Divine Adoratress of Amun. The first pylon leads into an open courtyard, lined with colossal statues of Ramesses III as Osiris on one side and uncarved columns on the other. The second pylon leads into a peristyle hall, again featuring columns in the shape of Ramesses. The third pylon is reached by continuing up a ramp that leads through a columned portico and then opens into a large hypostyle hall which has lost its roof. Reliefs and actual heads of foreign captives were also found placed within the temple, perhaps in an attempt to symbolize the king's control over Syria and Nubia. In the Greco-Roman and Byzantine period, there was a church inside the temple structure, which has since been removed. Some of the carvings in the main wall of the temple have been altered by Christian carvings. The royal palace was directly connected with the first courtyard of the temple via the window of appearances. Minor King List. The Medinet Habu King List is a procession celebrating the Festival of Men with the names of 9 pharaohs. It can be found on the upper register of the eastern wall in the second courtyard. Gallery. Archaeological reports. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu I. Earlier historical records of Ramses Roman III OIP 8, Chicago 1930, 1930, 1930, 1930. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu Roman II, later historical records of Ramses Roman III OIP 9, Chicago 1932. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu Roman III, the calendar, the slaughterhouse, and minor records of Ramses Roman III OIP 23, Chicago 1934. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu Roman IV, Festival Scenes of Ramses Roman III OIP 51, Chicago 1940. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu V, the Temple Proper, Part 1 OIP 83, Chicago 1957. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu VI, the Temple Proper, Part 2 OIP 84, Chicago 1963. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu Roman VII, the Temple Proper, Part 3 OIP 93, Chicago 1964. The Epigraphic Survey, Medinet Habu Roman 8, The Eastern Highgate OIP 94, Chicago 1970. W. F. Edgerton, Medinet Habu Graffiti Facsimiles OIP 36, Chicago 1937. Yuval Holster, Medinet Habu 1924-1928. Roman II. The Architectural Survey of the Great Temple and Palace of Medinet Habu season 1927-28. Oick, No. 5. Chicago, University of Chicago Press, 1929. H. J. Thyssen, Die Dematischen Graffiti von Medinet Habu, Zeugnis zu Tempel und Kultem Tollmeistern, Ägypten Dematische Studien 10, Sommerhausen, 1989.